Hey everybody, Damon over here at REI Black Book, and I was just answering a few questions here on Saturday morning. And I saw a post asking about, hey, how do I automate, or how do I, just got a list, scrubbed it, I've got the phone numbers, how do I just automate calling that list? And I know that there are tons of trainers, educators, quote unquote, what they call gurus out there telling you guys that this is what you can do. And I know there's tons of investors that are doing it and having success, okay? But I just want to be clear that you understand the risk involved with that, because at the end of the day, it is against the law to do that, okay? Well, let me just kind of talk about this at a high level then, because I do think it's important really for everybody to understand this, okay? Everybody says, hey, let's go get a list and, let's get the list of phone numbers, let's scrub it, and then let's call it, okay? So you cannot automate the calls, okay? So anytime you upload a list and use an automated dialer, you are violating the TCPA Act of 1991, okay? So that's the Telephone Communications Protection Act, okay? And it very specifically says if you use any sort of automated dialer, you need written permission from the client, really, so basically, going and getting a list of people you don't know, and then even scrubbing it, and getting the phone numbers, you cannot use automated technology to a dialer to cold call them, okay? You can't do that to text them either, all right? So the TCPA Act's pretty clear on that, right? Now, you can actually dial them. You can manually dial the numbers. You can do that. So you can cold call, but whenever you go to cold call, there's one other list you need to actually take into account, and that is the do not call list, okay? So that is the do not call list, all right? So you got to make sure if those phone numbers are on the do not call list, you have to register with the do not call registry. There's a whole process in that of itself, okay? Now, guys, I'm telling you this stuff so that you understand how to build a business, all right? I know that these things work, right? And sometimes what we call black hat stuff works, okay? It's not necessarily legal, and it's not within the realm of the law, but it's effective. And so not everybody understands the entire realm of this. And so then, you've got other investors that really aren't necessarily professional marketers or things like that, but they've had some success, and that's what they've done, and they've used this piece of technology, and so then they start spreading the gospel, so to speak, because it's effective. So I'm not going to argue the effectiveness. I'm just arguing the legalities of it, okay? And there's really no question here, okay? It's not, hey, is this gray? It's pretty black and white, okay? It's very black and white, actually. Again, I want to be clear on this. If you are using an automated dialer, so automated technology to call, like that, to ring and make that connection, even if you're on the other end, and once it makes the connection, and then you've got a person so if you're using some sort of automated dialer, then you must have written permission. Same thing for text messages, okay? So if you're using automated text messaging, then you must have written permission. And again, then if you go and start contacting them outside of automated technology, all right, then you need to make sure you're following the do not call list registry guidelines, okay? So that's really kind of the things you got to pay attention to. Now, the other option is ringless voicemail, okay? Now, ringless voicemail, this is where it kind of gets in the gray area, okay? The other two areas, that's black and white, okay? There's been plenty of people fined. There's been plenty of people sued. The courts have ruled on this multiple times. It's illegal, okay? However, ringless voicemail, this is, and I won't say it's a new technology, but it's really starting to be used quite a bit, especially over the last 2 to 3 years. Ringless voicemail technology is a little bit different, and it's not clearly specified in the TCPA Act if this is a violation of the TCPA Act, okay? And the reason that is because it's not using automated technology to actually call the actual individual cell phone. What it's doing is it's using server-to-server technology, right? And that's, technically speaking, is throwing in some questions, and people are saying, hey, well, maybe this is legal. Now, my honest take is, look, I don't think anybody's going to go to court and win a ringless voicemail suit either. Like, is there a possible grounds there? Yes, but I don't personally think so. I think that you're still going to have to have written permission for any sort of automated type technology on the phone. I think they're really pretty clear about that. Again, there is an argument the door's open since ringless voicemail uses that server-to-server technology. So there's an argument there. Do I think they'll win it? Probably not. I think best case scenario that they say, yep, you know what, hey, it's okay, that's not punishable right now, but then they will go ahead and pass legislation to clearly define that ringless voicemail is also included the same way texting and calling is with automated technology, okay? Now, so the question then is what should I do? You could actually, again, start manually calling. You could actually dial those numbers and cold call them directly, but again, you need to scrub the do not call list, okay? The other things you could do is you could take that list, you could actually upload it into Facebook, all right? We actually just did the Facebook Ads Accelerator, and Facebook, the cool thing about it is, especially if you got their phone numbers, Facebook will actually go find their profiles, and then you can start running targeted ads to that list. You could also do direct mail. All right, so there are some things that you can do with that list for sure. And I'm not trying to rain on your guys' parade. Sincerely, I understand this stuff, guys. Look, I know that it's really super sexy to upload, you know, a list of 1,000, 10,000, whatever, and just push a button and have them all, you know, called and everything else. I understand the power and the sexiness. I'm just telling you what the legalities are. Okay, and you have to make decisions and operate within, you know, those legalities, the law, if you will. And you know, people break the speed limit every day, right? But you know, some people are totally not comfortable breaking the speed limit. It doesn't mean it's right, it doesn't mean it's wrong, but bottom line is it is illegal, right? So I guess that is the right or wrong, right? Depending upon how. But there are plenty of strategies, and really at the end of the day, what I would highly encourage you all to do is take a look at your marketing strategies. And if you want to build a long-term business, then I would shy away from the black hat stuff, okay? I have seen successful investors go away overnight because they had built their business around shady practices that, yeah, can get the phone ringing and you can make a lot of money really quick, but don't look at the short term. Look at the long term. What do you really want to do? And do you want to build a sustainable business that, you know what, you know, they're not going to come in and all of a sudden rip it apart and be at such risk, okay? That's what I'd much rather see you take a look at direct mail. I would much rather see you look at inbound marketing campaigns, things of that nature that aren't kind of built on a house of cards, so to speak, all right? So with that said, again, if you guys got questions or comments or thoughts on this, hey, you know, I'm happy to discuss it and give you guys my take. I'm going to be hanging out on this Saturday for a little bit, but honestly, you see that beautiful golf course over there? My kids are like asking me to go golf, so I'm ready to go golf for the day. All right, so Steph is making a comment here. Yeah, so all right, so that's a good comment, right? So she's saying, hey, it doesn't seem realistic to receive written permission, okay? And it's not, all right, sincerely. So you're right, it doesn't seem possible, right? Like if I got 1,000 people to go get written permission, and who's going to give you written permission? By the time they give you written permission, it doesn't make sense to use these automated technologies, right? But written permission comes in a couple of different ways, okay? So first of all, a great way would be, you know, again, inbound marketing practices. Whenever people ask me, and I have this conversation with folks, they're like, Damon, I don't understand, why the hell did you build it so that we could send out these text messages, or that we could send out ringless voicemails, or, you know, we could do this type of stuff automated? And it's like, well, the tools that we built, if used like within compliance, then they're absolutely awesome and they work legally. But, you know, if you build a gun, then you can use a gun illegally too, right? And so the tool is super powerful, but I want you to think about that. So if you've got written permission, you can get written permission by somebody opting in on your website. So the best way we love to use text messages is for our VIP buyers, right? So we got a new property, we're going to text blast it out to our list. That you can get written permission, right? They want to be on your list. They're going to go to your website and they're going to opt in, okay? That serves as written permission, okay? Now you do have to clearly have a disclaimer on the landing page or the website that they opt in that tells them, hey, look, we use automated technology, right? If you give us your phone number, we're going to text you, and you know, message and message rates and data rates may apply. All of that type of stuff has to happen, okay? All right, so good question, Yvonne. So basically, do I export my list from REI Meeting then import them to some DMC place? The answer is yes. what you really would want to do is you could go Google this. I would just Google do not call scrub, right? And there are different providers out there, websites, you can upload the list and it will scrub it against the do not call list, and then you can cold call. But honestly, even the cold call, you are supposed to still register with the do not call list, okay? And so there's a national list and then there's a state list, okay? So there's a national list and a state list, and so you need to register with both, all right? So register with both and get that taken care of, okay? Now, the things I want you guys to understand, written permission, they can actually literally physically write and say, yes, I give you permission. A lot of we used to do this in the mortgage business, right? So customers would come in, we would close a loan, and one of the papers we would have them sign was the disclosure that they were giving us permission to use automated technologies to market to them later, right? So these types of technologies serve great for your past client database. So then the question is like, okay, well, how are we using them to lead generate? All right. Well, lead generation, again, great strategies if you're using to nurture and to follow up, right? So, but do something else to get them. I'm telling you guys straight up, your inbound marketing is going to work a lot better than typically the outbound type marketing. And so what do you got to do to get calls coming into you or leads going to your website? That's a much more sustainable strategy and is going to serve you long term. Now, I get it 100%. It's really easy to go buy a list, shoot out a text message, maybe get a deal or two, and hey, look, you're flying under the radar, no big deal, right? No harm, no foul kind of thing, right? Cool. Let me see. Opt-in is written permission. Thank you. Had no idea. Yeah. So yes, the opt-in. Okay. They can opt in on your website. They can also opt in by texting in, right? So if your ad says, "Hey, text in," and now all of a sudden you got their phone number, now you can opt them in. Now on the ad, you have to tell them, "Hey, look, by texting in, message and data rates may apply." All those types of things as well, right? And you have to comply with all the stop stuff, which we force you guys to do. You guys don't even get a choice on that. We kind of force you to do that, right? The most budget-friendly thing you can do to get started. Okay, that is a great question, all right? Okay, so Yvonne, here's what I want you to do. First and foremost, and I'm going to post the link, I want you to go look at our Motivated Seller Guide, okay? We've got 9 different strategies, and there are strategies that kind of fit within different budgets, okay? Facebook ads is a very cost-effective strategy. The cool thing is you can start generating leads very quickly. The problem with that is you got to kind of nurture them a little bit longer, okay? I would say driving for dollars. Again, you're going to have to probably spend some money on skip tracing the owners and then doing some sort of direct mail and or cold calling them manually to get their response, okay? We've seen bird dogs being super effective, so recruiting other people to go find properties for you, find folks that are in distressed situations. We definitely understand, like sincerely, hey, look, at the end of the day, going door to door and looking at a different neighborhood and knocking on doors, right? I'm not saying this stuff is easy, and sometimes it's certainly not as sexy as uploading a list and then just sending out this blast and having all this money rain on you, right? It's not as sexy to go bang on somebody's door and do it repeatedly over and over again to get started. Understand that. But my job is really, here's the way I take my job. I do want to empower you guys, but empowering you on the short term is not nearly as effective as if we can empower you the proper way and get you guys really set up, structured, and you understand the right way to build a sustainable, predictable business, right? That's really what we want you to do. I'll post a link to that, to the article, and actually it's really a whole book, all right? So it's actually an entire book. We go in, we've got a chapter on each one of these lead gen strategies, and some of them, yes, cost money, right? Maybe straight up candid, yes, some of the best marketing strategies are going to cost more, right? Quite frankly, probably one of the best strategies right now is Google pay-per-click ads, right? But those leads are relatively expensive. But the reason it's so effective is because, and it's one of the best lead gen strategies, is because those people are actively searching for a solution to their problem, right? So if you think about the marketing world, really we typically got top of funnel, middle of funnel, and then bottom of funnel, right? So tofu, mofu, bofu, right? Like the top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. Okay, the top of funnel folks typically are not aware that they even have a problem, right? So, or maybe they are aware somewhat that they've got a problem, but it's not painful yet. But really what they don't know is they don't understand the solution to their problem, which 9 times out of 10 in our world, the solution we're trying to provide for them is, hey, look, you need to sell your house, okay? And so it depends upon what type of ads. If you think about direct mail, you're mailing to a big list of folks that you don't know. if there's any sort of motivation there or not, and you're trying to, really elicit some emotion from them to make them aware of their problem and then to reach out because you are the solution to the problem, right? Well, the difference with Google Ads and pay-per-click is they actually are aware of their problem. They're like, hey, man, I got this albatross of a house hanging around my neck and, it's dragging me down. I need to sell it. So they go to Google and say, hey, how do I sell my house fast? And then your ad pops up and says, hey, and then they either call you or you call them back, whatever, right? So those leads tend to be better in this market today, right? So I want you guys to understand that. And in fact, this is a lot of what we talk about in that Motivated Seller Guide, right? We want you to understand the differences and the nuances of where people are at in the sales cycle, right? Where they're at, and then how you're going to reach them, okay? And if it's a little bit more expensive to reach them when they're further down the sales cycle and funnel, all right? So it sounds like I'm having a meltdown with my kids, so I've got to go. But I'll be happy to answer questions. We'll probably be on here all day because if it rains, I'm going to be in the house. All right. So if not, I'm going to be on the golf course. But either way, I'll be happy to answer questions today. All right. Thanks so much.